From his youth, Anthony Kravtsov was absolutely certain that when the time came, he would marry a beautiful girl and they would have 3 sons. They would grow old together and die on the same day, surrounded by loving grandchildren. This thought was so firmly lodged in his head that when he was asked at the graduation party what he wanted to become, he answered without hesitation, a father of 3 sons. His classmates laughed, all except Valerie. She got indignant, frowned, and started scolding the others. "Why are you laughing? You're laughing like horses. Our Anthony is smarter than all of you. He has a goal for his whole life, a real one. All this blah 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 about wanting to be a doctor, an artist, or even president? Stupid. Valerie, you're silly. Everyone becomes fathers and mothers anyway. You don't even need to dream about it. But to be a doctor, you have to study, acquire a profession, skills," interrupted George Klimov, who was planning to enter medical school. "Maybe you'll give birth to his 3 sons," snickered classmate Lena, sitting next to Valerie at the same desk. Valerie didn't hesitate and fired back. "Well, I will if he asks." Everyone laughed some more, but that's when Anthony first noticed Valerie. She didn't stand out in their class. Average student, not an activist, no shining talents, quite ordinary appearance. Cute, but nothing more, except for her thick golden braid that hung below her waist. Valerie lived with her grandmother on the other end of the village. She had the farthest walk to school, but her determination to bring his main goal to life made the guy hold his breath for a few seconds and make a lightning-fast decision. Here she was, the embodiment of his dream, within arm's length. They celebrated their graduation, went to the high riverbank to watch the sunrise and make wishes on the first ray of sun. Then, when escorting after the graduation festivities, Anthony walked not Marina, but Valerie home. She wasn't expecting it. She blushed with joy and embarrassment. Anthony had liked her for a long time. At his big house painted blue with white swans, he asked, "So, Valerie, about the sons, you were probably joking, right?" Valerie pouted her lips and replied offendedly and sharply, "Actually, no one has proposed to me to promise anything to anyone. Whether I said it or not, what's it to you?" Anthony lowered his eyes and then said, "I'm going to the army in the fall. I've already decided. When I return, I'll get married." And Anthony put his arm around Valerie's shoulders. "Will you wait for me from the army?" The girl tossed her braid over her back and didn't answer, just nodded silently, then blushed again and ran into the yard, waving goodbye to Anthony. Guys are like that, one wind in their heads. Today I love you, tomorrow I love another. You can't trust them. You'll wait for him, but will he come back to you or to his old sweetheart? Promising doesn't mean marrying, the wise and cautious grandmother taught her granddaughter. But Valerie waited, wrote letters, sent postcards. On the envelopes, besides the standard pictures, she drew her own, with flowers and berries, ladybugs, butterflies, whole name paintings, bright as if alive. The guys even envied Anthony. No one else got such artistic messages. He even saved all the envelopes, didn't throw them away. Then Anthony successfully returned from mandatory service. The next day, still in his military uniform, he came to ask for the hand of Claudia Semenovna's granddaughter. The old woman got emotional, teared up, but it was clear she was happy and glad for her beloved granddaughter. "I see you're a serious guy, Anthony, and your intentions are real, so I'm happy for my granddaughter. She's my one and only precious blood in the world, and I won't object when she ties her fate with you. Let her become a real homemaker by your side, build a happy family," and she blessed them. Valerie blushed like a poppy flower. Anthony was nervous, constantly adjusting his belt, holding it with both hands, and kept glancing at the rustling bag by the door. He still had gifts for his bride and her grandmother, Claudia Semenovna. A big warm shawl, a real Ongarsk one. For Valerie, a little bottle of perfume with a subtle floral scent, and a thin ring in a red box with a cubic zirconia, but gold. "Never mind, Valerie. I'll give you one with a diamond when the time comes," said Anthony. They celebrated the wedding in October, modestly, without pomp, but warmly. The Kravtsovs didn't throw a big feast, but they very much approved of their son's choice. "But what kind of bride is this for our son? Almost an orphan, neither fish nor fowl. You're such a handsome, stately, prominent guy, and she's next to you like a gray mouse, only with that golden braid. the mother sighed, pursing her lips disapprovingly. And the name Valerie, what is that? You could have chosen a better girl. You had Marina, she's a beauty, striking. But Anthony was adamant and didn't change his decision. He interrupted his mother right away. Mom, calm down. Your Marina wasn't in a hurry to get married. She wanted to go to the city first, get a diploma. That's another 5 years. And will she even return from that city? She's not my girl in general, even with her beautiful name. And why are you in such a hurry? It burns in you. You could have gone to study too. Higher education is always status and honor, son. He just waved it off. This mother's lecture could drag on endlessly. Then the mother sang her song again at every opportunity and threw in her final arguments. Oh, son, you chose a cat in a bag. First, see what kind of homemaker your chosen one is, how she cooks at least. Maybe she can't even make borscht or bake a pie. You'll eat dry food until she learns. It's not a great wisdom, parried the son. Mom, is happiness in pots of borscht and clean socks? Then what is it in, son? A man should have a reliable and responsible home front. He should be sure that his home is in order and his other half is waiting, who will listen and support. Then you can go to work joyfully and calmly, live freely and make plans. Anthony just waved it off again. The father only shouted but didn't dispute his son's choice. To live. The Kravtsovs inherited a small house in the same village with a good garden from the grandfather on the father's side, so the housing question was solved immediately. There was a place for them. The young couple quickly did a cosmetic repair to their taste and soon moved into their home. And pies, Valerie really didn't know how to bake, and she didn't cook borscht either. Aren't you going to cook lunch? The young husband asked, puzzled. My grandmother cooks borscht and bakes pies, Valerie answered, and covered herself more comfortably with the blanket, wrapping in it. For Anthony, Sundays always meant that there would definitely be a delicious lunch on the table. He hadn't attached special importance to it before, took it for granted. Pancakes with butter, fritters with sour cream, pies with various fillings, buns with jam, and other delicious baked goods never ran out of the Kravtsov house. By Sunday, the whole family had time to miss the enticing smell of fragrant pastries or fried cutlets and devoured the contents of the baking sheet or large dish in no time. In the first Sunday, the newlyweds were moving, arranging things, not up to delicacies. The next week passed quickly and haphazardly, again in household chores. But after the words of the newlywed wife that there would be no treats, Anthony got upset for the first time. Mother was right. You can't go far on boiled potatoes and plain macaroni with ketchup. Anthony got dressed and went to his mother. She had surely prepared a lot of tasty things. Already on the porch, he almost choked on saliva. Such aromas wafted out into the yard, teasing. Hello, son, said the mother without taking her eyes off the round cottage cheese donuts she was frying in a saucepan. The rosy rounds hissed cheerfully in the oil, and next to him on the table towered a whole mountain of this beauty on a tray. Will you have some tea, son, with donuts, or eat some hot cutlets? The mother offered kindly, turning to him. No, Mom, I ate at home, the son lied, choking on saliva. His hungry stomach whined piteously. Well, then take some with you. You'll eat later. We have too much. Your father and I, she cooked with extra by habit. Your sister is fooling around again, on a diet. Anthony's sister Katie peeked out of her room hearing her name, and tucking her long hair into a ponytail, asked her brother, What, newlywed, missed us already? Got tired of your wife? Katie, stop, the mother interrupted. Don't say such things. What's shameful? Look at George Klimov. When he got married, he didn't leave the house with his young wife for 2 whole weeks. They couldn't get enough of each other. Even their parents ran to them, knocked, scared that something happened. Maybe they got poisoned by gas. But our newlywed, not even a week passed and he's back home. Not just like that. There must be a reason. And Katie giggled slyly. I came here to chop wood for Claudia Semenovna. That's why I stopped by. It's my home too. Why are you nagging? Maybe I came to check on my parents. I see no help from you, Katie. You sleep till noon, invent some twists with diets, fool around. Brother and sister often quarreled, fought for parental attention and love, though they gave no reason and treated the children equally. But the sibling rivalry that started in childhood never went away and continued to this day. Don't argue. Anthony, good job, son, for stopping by. How are things? Coping well? Everything's fine, in order. Anthony stood up from the stool. Wait, son, I'll give you a treat. The mother carefully poured the sweet pastries into a plastic container, wrapped it in a bag, and handed it to her son. Thanks, Mom. If you need help with chores or anything, don't hesitate to call. Okay, son, and you call if needed. Anthony said goodbye to the family and quickly headed home to Valerie's grandmother, Claudia Semenovna. He hadn't planned to go there at all, honestly. He walked fast, breathing heavily, out of breath. He was hungry. His stomach was marching. In his hands, Anthony carried his mother's pastries. He quickly opened the bag and snapped the container lid. The airy balls, dusted with powdered sugar, disappeared into the guy's mouth instantly. Bliss. He even closed his eyes. At the high blue gates with white swans, Anthony wiped his mouth, closed the container, and shoved it deeper into his pocket. Claudia Semenovna was glad to see the unexpected guest, offered him tea with buns, but Anthony politely refused the treat, said he had already breakfasted with his wife. He went out to the yard where a big pile of unsplit logs lay. Claudia Semenovna followed to the porch, wrapping herself in the gifted down shawl. Anthony, maybe better to hire someone like Paul the Stutterer. Nah, if you hire outsiders for every job, no income will suffice. And men's work isn't hard for me. This isn't baking pies. And here Anthony stopped short, realizing he had said too much. Did something happen with Valerie? Did you quarrel? The grandmother asked, calling her granddaughter Valerie for the first time. Anthony stopped, lowered the ox, and turned to Claudia Semenovna. Do I not know something, Grandma Claudia? Tell me. You know, Anthony, my daughter didn't become one when Valerie turned 6. I took Valerie to me and raised her as best I could. But apparently I protected her too much, raised her as a delicate one. No washing, no ironing, no cooking. I took everything on myself. I had strength then, could move mountains, especially for Valerie. Now I'm all sick and ailing, but back then I ran nimbly and jumped like a deer. Anthony smiled, imagining this gray-haired little woman running nimbly. So I was glad when you called her to marry. I thought I had arranged the girl, thank God. But I see not everything went as I expected. My granddaughter is foolish somehow, lazy to cook, doesn't like cleaning, don't even show her laundry, and don't approach the stove. And she often blurts out something extra where not needed or carries gossip further, which is not good at all. Anthony, don't be shy. If needed, take the reins in hand and yell at her a bit when necessary. It'll only benefit her. Grandma Claudia, she's not a cow to scare with reins or whip. Well, cow or not, but she should understand who's the master in the house. Anthony returned home when the day was past noon. He glanced around the house, boxes and crates with clothes. Valerie hadn't unpacked them. They stood by the wall. The young wife herself wasn't home. Lunch, of course, wasn't there either. Valerie came back flushed, excited, and dissatisfied with something. George Klimov is still studying at the institute and already got a position. Lucky him, she announced, kicking off her boots in the doorway. What position? Anthony smirked, slicing potatoes. He's a veterinarian at the farm. He'll get his diploma and there you go, boss, Valerie exclaimed. Are you jealous? And how? Now he'll earn much more. She wanted to say than you, but kept silent. How do you know that? I went to Lana Gherkin at a talk. You went to Chatter. Better prepare lunch and unpack things and put them in the closet. I have to go to work tomorrow and there are no clean shirts, Anthony indignated. Well, I'm your wife, Anthony, not a cook. And wash shirts, how? Not by hand in a basin? We need to buy a washing machine. Then I can wash. We'll buy in time, the husband calmed. Will money fall from the sky? Valerie snorted. I have an idea, Valerie. Ask for city courses, and maybe they'll raise my salary. I'll earn, and the first purchase will be a washer for you. Oh, really? Valerie rejoiced. I promise, the husband replied affirmatively. For now, let's at least boil some potatoes. I'm hungry. During the week, Anthony went to the director to ask to send him to courses in the city for advancement. The director invited him to sit, listened attentively, and puzzled him. I hired you, Anthony, on your father's recommendation, and now I see myself that you're an excellent worker, responsible, neat. I'd gladly send you to courses, but the day before yesterday, Klimov came with the same request, so I already approved him first, in addition to his scholarship at the university. Unfortunately, no extra funds, alas, so now only next year, Anthony, but next year for sure, I promise. Anthony thanked the director, but felt like doused with water. He rushed out of the director's office like scalded. It turned out stupid. At home, he told Valerie everything. She confessed that she had told everything to Lana Gierkina. Anthony even gritted his teeth. Valerie, don't you know what you can tell others and what not? It's clear that any plans in personal life are kept within your four walls, and you don't open your mouth about family secrets. Thanks to you, now George will study on an increased scholarship, and I won't go to courses for a whole year. So you'll wash by hand in a basin, wifey, the whole year. And in the evening, iron a fresh shirt for me. Thank God we have an iron. Valerie pouted her lips. She was offended, not at herself, of course, at Anthony. The first year of married life for the young Kravtsovs was coming to an end, and a lot had happened in that year. Valerie had committed so many foolish acts, countless, and discussed a mass of family things that aren't customary to tell anywhere with her girlfriends. Anthony tolerated until the last events that overflowed his cup of patience. The young spouses both wanted children badly. Anthony didn't let go of his youthful dream of 3 sons from his thoughts. But Valerie couldn't get pregnant. They even went to the city for examination together, but doctors found nothing, only prescribed expensive imported vitamins. Anthony worried even more than Valerie, and his wife treated this question, as always, philosophically. God will give, and it will be in its time. Once immersed in his thoughts, Anthony was walking to work. Neighbor Basil caught up with him. "Why so gloomy, Anthony? Today is such a momentous day." "What momentous day?" "Well, Valerie told my Tanya that today is the most favorable day for conceiving a son. Maybe aim for twins right away?" And the neighbor winked cheerfully. Anthony even coughed, choking from surprise. "Your jokes, Basil. Do you collect women's gossip or what?" "What do you mean, Anthony? Just friendly." And he got embarrassed. "Friendly, you'd better keep silent, Basil, and you'd be priceless." Anthony quickened his pace, hurrying to escape the unpleasant conversation. In the evening, Anthony took the reins in hand and waved them over his head as Claudia Semyonovna had advised. "And you're stupid, Valerie. Do you have brains in your head or not?" "Anthony, what? I won't anymore." "Of course you won't, because I'm divorcing you. You can pack your things. I'll even help carry them to your grandma. It's heavy after all." Valerie lifted her chin, but after his words, tears spurted from her eyes. She grabbed her jacket, boots, and rushed out into the street headlong. Grandmother listened to her granddaughter attentively at home, without interrupting, listened long, nodded, frowned, then sighed heavily and said, "Wash the floor first, then go pack things." "The floor? Why wash the floor?" Valerie wondered, wiping tears. "Wash my floor. You tracked so much dirt. Look, mud all over the corners, clumps scattered. And at my age, crawling on knees on the floor is hard." Valerie had to wash the floors. She hadn't even noticed how much she had tracked. Then grandmother continued. "So, granddaughter, remember I always taught you that there are 7 wise things to keep to yourself and not tell anyone. Well, not 7 in essence, but 4. You 8. Remember and learn while I'm alive. Here are these 8 simple things not to talk about with anyone, not discuss, not retell, so that there is harmony and peace in the family. These are such wise life laws. First law, avoid gossip and rumors from others. No good to you or others from them. And then you'll get dirty from foreign gossip, and there's nothing worse if you retell someone else's gossip. Then you'll be the extreme one, and trouble to the person, shame to you. Second law, your family relations are taboo for all outsiders. What happens behind your walls is only your business, and no foreign eye can peek there. Third law, keep your plans and desires only for the 2 of you. See, you blobbed to everyone about Anthony's plan, and he lost the chance to go to courses and lost in salary for a whole year. You boasted to a girlfriend, and not even about your own, but your husband's plan, and in the end, your whole family lost. Fourth law, your achievements and successes, what benefit you got for the family. Don't boast, use wisely. Don't brag about successes, and don't gloat over others' failures. If someone didn't succeed, under the sky everything can turn the other way. If you boast, the boomerang law. Heard of it? Fifth law, love, what to add, only concerns the 2 of you. See, you trumpeted to the whole village what Anthony carried in his heart about his sons, and you didn't birth one but offended your husband, blabbed his secret. Love should be between 2 without outsiders' gossip. Sixth law, money in your family. Count and plan your money together, again without bringing to outsiders discussions. Otherwise, you'll have nothing if you squander. Seventh law, Your faith is also only your business, and further, your way of life and inner world. This concerns everything I said. Protect your family from outsiders' interference. Happiness loves silence. In drafts, it withers and can die. Thoughtful Valerie headed home, and the closer to home, the slower her step became. To the gates, she dragged foot by foot. She hoped Anthony had cooled down, wasn't angry anymore, and everything would be as before. Now she'd enter, and he'd be peeling potatoes and say, "Let's boil some potatoes for dinner." But Anthony wasn't peeling potatoes. He had just gathered all her things and brought them to the threshold. Valerie started crying. Either childhood habits returned or to soften her husband. Anthony, lips pressed, didn't answer her. Then she tried a last attempt. "Anthony, but let's make up." "We didn't quarrel, Valerie. You don't understand what happened." "But Anthony, I realized everything. Honestly, I won't people word to anyone anymore." "No, Valerie, no. I'm afraid it's too late already, and you won't change. I can't beat my wife to teach her sense with reins. My hand won't rise to hit the mother of my children. And forgive me, but that needs to be in the head. In your head, it doesn't apply. So as I decided, so it is. We're divorcing, and that's it." Valerie cried loudly again. "And how about giving birth to your 3 sons? I promised." "You promised, Valerie, and I hoped, dreamed, but I don't want any more, so that the whole village calculates collectively when we have a favorable day for conception and even mocks me as a fool. Enough for me. Come, I'll carry your things to Claudia Semyonovna, as I promised." Valerie sighed. He doesn't even want his wife to spend the night in the house, kicks her out right in the evening, though by evening it's better, fewer prying eyes. Finally, she noticed that prying eyes are extra in any matter. Anthony dragged her things to the gate blue with white swans, passed greetings to Claudia Semyonovna, and there their family life ended. A month later, Anthony got an official divorce. A year later, Marina returned. She transferred to correspondence. "Marina, how are you? Where are you studying or what?" Anthony showered her with questions. He was glad to see her. "I'm studying, Anthony. Transferred to correspondence. I'll work in our school, teach school children. And you?" "And I finished courses, got promoted at work, also thinking of going to study. Higher education is always status and honor." They started meeting often. Anthony's mother couldn't get enough joy from her beloved Marina. The girl often ran to her future mother-in-law to share recipes. She cooked magnificently. Even Katie, the sharp-tongued, never poked Marina with a half word. They got along. Then Anthony proposed to Marina. She accepted, but smiled slyly. "And if I don't give birth to your 3 sons, what if one is a girl?" "You know, Marina, as it will be, so it will be. Even 3 girls in a row. I'll love them all, and you first. We'll live peacefully and harmoniously, in love and harmony." And he quietly crossed his fingers. "But at least one son will be born someday, probably."